You know, there's exactly one wedding rule that has survived everything. Black at a wedding? Perfectly fine these days. Sequins? Go right ahead. But if you are not the bride, you do not wear white. Everybody knows it. Your grandmother knew it, her grandmother knew it, and yet some of the most famous women on the planet, women with personal stylists, designer friends, and closets bigger than most apartments, keep breaking this one simple rule anyway. So today we're counting down 15 celebrity guests who wore white to a wedding and regretted it almost instantly. And I promise you, these stories get wild. One of them wore a full white Batman costume, cape and all. One got called the rudest wedding guest ever, right to her face. And the woman at number 1, she did it at Taylor Swift's wedding. And then her husband's excuse made the whole thing so much worse. Before we begin, if you enjoy fashion stories like these, we truly love for you to join us here on this channel. It genuinely means the world to us. All right, let's start with number 15, influencer Tahlia Skaines. We're starting with something rare, the one case on this entire list where the guest actually came forward and explained herself. And honestly, her explanation might surprise you. Here's what happened. Tahlia flew out to a gorgeous destination wedding in Bali, and she showed up in a flowing, floor-length white gown with a thigh-high slit. Beautiful dress, wrong occasion. Or at least, that's what her hundreds of thousands of followers thought. The comments poured in fast, and one of them summed up the entire mood. Did you forget that this day isn't about you? Now, most celebrities would have gone quiet and waited for it to blow over. Tahlia did the opposite. The reaction grew so loud that she sat down and filmed a full apology video. And in it, she confessed something nobody saw coming. She'd been holding that invitation for 9 whole months and never read the fine print, because tucked into that fine print was the actual dress code. All white, every guest. She only discovered it 2 days before the ceremony, long after her outfit was packed. Her own words, "I'm the problem." She even admitted, "I already feel illegal wearing white." So think about that for a second. She was following the dress code the entire time. She just didn't know it. All of that public embarrassment, and she'd been innocent from the very first minute. Let that be today's first lesson, friends. Before you pick the dress, read the invitation. All of it. Number 14, Amy Poehler. Now this one, I have to tell you, is a genuine cold case. And what makes it so delicious is that it stayed hidden for years. Back in 2014, comedian John Mulaney got married at a beautiful, very private ceremony up in the Catskill Mountains. Guests were asked not to take photos, so for a long time, the world saw nothing. But eventually, official pictures from the photographer's own portfolio made their way online. And when people zoomed in on the crowd, they noticed something odd sitting quietly in the background. There was Amy Poehler, beloved, brilliant, funny Amy Poehler, in a bright white dress. And here's the part that keeps people up at night. To this day, she has never once explained it. Not a word. Was it actually a pale blue that washed out on camera? Was it some inside joke between comedians that just didn't translate to a photograph? Nobody knows. One person online captured the whole obsession perfectly when they wrote, "One of those things that lives in my head rent-free." Why? Was it a joke? Now you have to think about it too. And I'm sorry, but now it lives in your head as well. You're welcome. Because sometimes the most fascinating fashion mysteries aren't the loud, messy ones. They're the quiet ones that were never, ever explained. Number 13, Jaden Smith. And no, I'm not making this up. Picture the scene with me. It's 2014 and Kim Kardashian is marrying Kanye West in Florence, Italy. This was billed as the wedding of the century, a wall of white flowers, a Renaissance fortress, the most carefully controlled guest list in all of Hollywood, everything curated down to the last napkin. And into all of that elegance walks Will Smith's teenage son, wearing a head-to-toe white Batman costume. And I mean the full costume, molded chest plate, utility belt, a flowing white cape dragging along behind him across those historic Italian floors. The internet genuinely didn't know how to react. People weren't even angry at first. They were confused, because wearing white to a wedding is one thing. Wearing a white superhero costume, that's a whole new category that etiquette books never thought to cover. And when someone finally asked Jaden about it, his explanation somehow made everything better and worse at the exact same time. He said he wore the suit to heighten my experience. And then, this is real, he added that he felt as though I needed to protect everyone there. He later wore the very same suit to his high school prom. So no, this was never a prank. This was a lifestyle. Though I'll admit, one commenter had a point. If you're marrying Kanye West, a white Batman sitting in the third row probably doesn't even crack the top 10 strangest things at your wedding. Number 12, Naomi Campbell. All right, we've had the funny ones. Now we go somewhere genuinely jaw-dropping, because this didn't happen at just any wedding. It happened at a royal one. The year is 2011, and Prince Albert of Monaco is marrying Charlene Whitstock. This was the most formal event Europe had seen in years. Royal protocol everywhere you looked. Centuries of tradition pressing down on every detail. Guests chose their outfits with almost surgical care, because at a royal wedding, every photo becomes history. Naomi Campbell played by the rules for the daytime ceremony, but when the sun went down and the evening royal gala began, she threw the rulebook out the window. Naomi arrived at the reception in a pure white floor-length Givenchy couture gown. Not cream, not champagne, white. To a royal wedding celebration. And here's the twist that made it even more complicated. The gown was breathtaking. A sleek column with intricate draping that only one of the greatest supermodels alive could carry. She wore it so beautifully that her photos ended up circulating almost as widely as the bride's own pictures. Which, of course, is precisely the problem. So what did Naomi do when the whispers started? Nothing. No apology, no explanation, not even an acknowledgement. Royal watchers quietly seethed, the traditionalists gasped into their teacups, and Naomi simply carried on being Naomi. Because apparently, when you've ruled runways for 30 years, you operate under your own set of laws. The rest of us, though, we would not have survived that reception. Number 11, Cara Delevingne. And this is where the story gets complicated in the most interesting way. Because here's a question for you. What happens when the bride actually says yes to white, and it still goes wrong? At her sister Poppy's high society wedding in 2014, supermodel Cara Delevingne wore a custom white Chanel couture gown. And when I say gown, I mean an event of a gown. A pearlescent structured bodice cascading down into tier after tier of dramatic ruffles, like a cloud that decided to attend a wedding. Now, before anyone gasps, Cara had full permission. She was the maid of honor, and her sister had personally chosen a white color palette for the whole bridal party, completely sanctioned, approved at the highest level. So what went wrong? Quite simply, it was too much dress. This was a runway piece, a garment engineered to command a Paris catwalk. And in the wide family photos, it kept pulling the eye away from the bride's own gown. An etiquette expert named Diane Gottsman made the rounds afterward with a warning that stuck. Wearing white as a guest sends a message that you want to be noticed. And that's the deeper lesson quietly hiding inside this entry. Even when the bride herself blesses the color, maybe think twice about couture with more volume than the wedding cake. Permission covers the color, my friends. It does not cover the wattage. Number 10. Cheryl Cole. And oh, this one has the best ending on the entire list. British singer Cheryl arrived at a 2018 wedding in a white Zuhair Murad haute couture gown that I can only describe as spectacular. 3 tiers of soft feathers, delicate sheer panels, 3-dimensional gems and flowers scattered across the fabric. It was, without exaggeration, more elaborate than most actual wedding dresses. And it was white from top to bottom. You can guess what happened next. The criticism rolled in immediately. Too bold, they said. Too bridal. How could she risk upstaging the bride on her big day? And then Cheryl delivered what might be the single greatest response in the history of wedding fashion. She posted, and I'm quoting her exact words, "Them. How could you wear such a thing to a wedding? I bet the bride was upset. Me. There wasn't one." Because you see, this was the wedding of Nigel Hall and Philip Bates. 2 grooms, no bride anywhere in the building. Nobody to upstage. Just perfect. Now, to be fair, the purists still push back. They argued that white pulls focus at any wedding, bride or no bride, and honestly, they're not entirely wrong. But you have to admit, when the comeback is that clean, that effortless, the dress almost becomes a footnote to the moment. Number 9, Beyoncé. And ladies, this one is a genuine cautionary tale for every single one of us. Because Beyoncé, one of the most carefully styled women on earth, didn't actually wear white at all, and she still ended up in the headlines for it. Here's the story. When Jay-Z's mother, Gloria Carter, got married in 2023, Beyoncé arrived in a soft baby pink corseted ensemble with a luxurious matching shawl. Pink, verifiably, physically, in real life pink. The people standing next to her saw pink, and then the cameras came out. Now, here's what most people never realize until it happens to them. Pale pinks, soft champagnes, icy blues, under the harsh flash of a modern phone camera, those delicate shades wash out almost completely. The shimmering fabric bounces the light straight back into the lens, and just like that, your blush pink gown photographs as glowing bridal white. Fashion insiders even have a name for it, the flash photography trap. And in the third photo of Beyoncé's own Instagram post, that lovely pink dress looked unmistakably white. The internet reacted exactly the way you'd expect. "Never wear white if you're not the bride" flooded her comments within hours, and her loyal fans had to work overtime explaining the lighting to everyone who piled in. So here's the lesson, and it might be the most useful one in this whole video. In 2026, it no longer matters what color your dress actually is. It only matters what color it photographs. Hold on to that phrase, by the way, because it's coming back at number 1 with much, much higher stakes. Number 8, Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Yes, even her. If you thought this rule only catches pop stars and influencers, think again, because in June of 2026, it reached all the way into the royal family itself. The occasion was the wedding of Peter Phillips, the late Queen's grandson. Kate arrived looking exactly the way Kate always looks: polished, poised, impeccable. She wore a beautifully tailored Roland Mouret dress in a shade the brand officially calls dark cream, with structured boucle fabric, an elegant folded collar, and a chic boater hat to finish it off. Textbook Princess of Wales. But here's the thing about soft English daylight. It's not kind to creams. Under that gentle, overcast sky, dark cream read as unmistakably bridal champagne in every photograph. And the internet, which never forgets anything, immediately reached back into its files, because commenters pointed out that Kate also wore a cream coat dress to Harry and Meghan's wedding years earlier. One viewer put it plainly: she did this at Meghan's, and now again. It's becoming a pattern. Now her defenders came armed with 2 very fair points. First, this was the groom's second marriage, where tradition has always relaxed the rules a little. And second, as one supporter wrote so wonderfully, "There's no mistaking Kate for the bride. She hardly turned up holding a bouquet and wearing a veil." Fair enough, truly. But step back and look at what this entry proves. This rule is so deeply woven into wedding culture that even a future Queen of England gets pulled into the debate. Nobody is safe from it. Nobody. Number 7, Victoria Beckham. And this one left the fashion world genuinely puzzled. Because here's why this entry is different from all the others. Victoria Beckham isn't just a celebrity who gets dressed by other people. She is a fashion designer. She built an entire respected label on understanding precisely what clothes say before you ever open your mouth. If anyone on this planet knows the unwritten rules, it's Posh Spice. And yet, at the star-studded wedding of British Vogue editor Edward Enninful, Victoria arrived in a floor-length, bridal white satin slip dress, thin spaghetti straps, delicate lace embroidery tracing across the bodice. It was pure 1990s minimalist bride, genuinely the kind of dress you would expect to see coming down an aisle, not sitting in the pews. Now her defenders made their case, and it wasn't a bad one. The wedding reportedly had a black and white dress code, so white was technically on the menu, and it was a 2-groom celebration, meaning there was no bride to overshadow. Both fair points. But the critics answered with something hard to argue against: a dress code that says wear white, doesn't say wear a wedding gown. She had 100 elegant options: a crisp white suit, a chic white cocktail dress. Instead, she chose the single most bridal silhouette in all of fashion. The verdict from the style press landed somewhere between confusion and affection. Victoria Beckham was striking, but white for a wedding? Had she finally missed a style beat? Even the greats, it turns out, have an off day. Number 6. And this is the most dramatic face-to-face confrontation on the entire list. Everything else we've covered played out online, in comment sections, behind screens. This one happened in person, out loud, on camera. Real Housewives of Dubai star Caroline Stanbury was throwing a lavish desert celebration for her engagement, and she gave her guests one clear instruction: an all-white dress code. Simple enough, right? Well, her castmate Chanel Ayan took that invitation and turned it all the way up. She arrived in a white couture gown with a plunging neckline and a long train sweeping dramatically across the desert sand, and she topped the whole look with an extra long, pale blonde wig that, from a distance, looked remarkably like a bridal veil. Caroline was upset before Ayan had even fully stepped out of the car, and she didn't whisper it to a friend. She said it directly to her face, calling her the rudest wedding guest ever. So did Ayan apologize? Oh, absolutely not. Her response became instantly legendary among fans of the show. First of all, Caroline, I'm a black, gorgeous woman. We do not look alike whatsoever. I wore couture. You cannot compare or compete. And the audience split right down the middle, which is exactly why I love this one. Half the viewers said it was the boldest move a guest can pull. You simply don't outshine the woman of the hour at her own party. The other half said, hang on, you can't tell your guests to wear white and then get upset when somebody wears it better than you. So where do you land on that one? Tell me below, because I've genuinely gone back and forth on it myself. Number 5, Olivia Wilde. And this one skips right past the gray areas. Forget white adjacent, forget, well, it photographed white. In 2023, Olivia Wilde attended the Napa Valley wedding of Bachelor star Colton Underwood and his husband Jordan Brown, wearing a full ivory silk gown with a flowing train. And to complete the picture, a matching white parasol. She herself called it a wedding dress, because that's exactly what it was. The internet erupted right on schedule, always trying to make it about her. People wrote, "You can imagine the rest. It wasn't gentle." But here's what everyone missed in that first wave of outrage. This was a two-groom wedding. There was no bride anywhere in sight, nobody whose moment could be stolen. And Olivia hadn't stumbled into this look by accident. She had planned the entire thing as a joke, start to finish. She posted the photo herself with a caption that explained everything. "Wore a wedding dress to a wedding just so I could make a joke about it in my toast." And then came the ultimate protection. One of the grooms publicly backed her up, celebrating what he called that mythical category of friend who commits to a wedding dress purely to make her toast funnier when there's no bride around to offend. So, comedic genius or a step too far? The grooms laughed. Much of the internet frowned. And the parasol, well, say what you like, but that was true commitment to the bit. Number 4, Dua Lipa. And this is the one that almost everybody remembers incorrectly. In August of 2022, photos raced around the world showing Dua Lipa at the French countryside wedding of fashion designer Simon Porte-Jacquemus. And on first glance, the photos looked damning. She was wearing a sheer floor-length white gown, light fabric you could see through, delicate three-dimensional flowers. White and sheer, the two biggest missteps in wedding guest fashion, seemingly committed at the same time in the same dress. The pile-on was immediate, and it was loud. There was just one small problem with all that outrage. Every single piece of it was wrong. Let me walk you through it. The dress code for that wedding was white. The couple specifically requested it from their guests. It was a two-groom celebration, so there was no bride whose spotlight could be dimmed. Other guests wore white that day too, and the gown itself? Here's the best part. It was personally chosen and styled by Jacquemus, the groom himself, who literally asked Dua to wear it to his own wedding. She wasn't breaking the couple's wishes. She was honoring them, down to the letter. It took 3 years before she finally addressed it, and when she did, you could practically hear the sigh. The dress code was white. Everybody's wearing white, so I don't know why I got so much stick for it. The real lesson here is bigger than any dress. Context never survives a viral photo. The picture flies around the world before the explanation has even found its shoes. Number 3, Hailey Bieber. And this entry comes with a rule you can use for the rest of your life. June 2023, the wedding of Stephanie Shepard, Kim Kardashian's former assistant and a well-known figure in that circle. Hailey arrived in a dress from a small cult label called Fancy Club, and the design was striking. A high turtleneck, long, elegant sleeves, and then a completely open back with cutouts along the sides. The brand insisted the color was pale blue. The cameras, unfortunately, had other opinions. In every single photo from that day, the dress reads as white. And this is where the internet got impressively thorough. People actually pulled the exact color code from the images, checked it, and found it registered as, quote, ecru white. So not just looks white if you squint, mathematically, measurably white. The comments came quickly, and one asked the question on everyone's mind. Since when has it been okay to wear white to another woman's wedding? But here's the detail that made it hard to give her the benefit of the doubt. That dress was only ever sold to the public in black and in red. The pale, washout-prone blue version, it was specially made for Hailey for this event, which means somewhere along the way, someone looked at all the possible shades and chose the one that photographs white. So let me hand you the modern golden rule, free of charge. It's called the squint test. Stand back, squint at your outfit, and ask one question. Could this pass for white in a photo? If the answer is yes, the dress stays home. Simple as that. Number 2, Kylie Jenner. And the setting for this one could not have been bigger. Venice, Italy. The reported $50 million wedding of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. Oprah was there. Leonardo DiCaprio was there. Actual royalty was there. And with the entire world's press floating alongside the canals, every female guest arrived in rich, deep, respectful colors. Emeralds, navies, burgundies, every guest except one. Kylie stepped out in a custom corseted gown that her designer's team described as icy blue. And maybe, in a quiet room, it was. But out under the blazing Mediterranean sun, with metallic threads woven all through the fabric catching every ray, that gown photographed as pure, silvery white. The headlines practically wrote themselves, and the comments told the story even faster. One viewer said it simply, "That's not icy blue, that's a wedding dress." another needed only 4 words. I see a bride. And then, as if the color debate weren't enough, physics decided to join in. The corset was reportedly laced so tightly that Kylie lost the ability to bend at the waist. And the paparazzi caught the moment 4 members of her team had to gently lift her onto a Venetian boat, stiff as a mannequin, because sitting down was simply not an option. Here's the part I find genuinely interesting, though. Kylie has shown real self-awareness about this exact subject. Looking back at a flashy gown she once wore to a wedding in 2019, she admitted, "Probably wouldn't wear this now to someone's wedding." So she learned this lesson once before. Venice suggests it didn't entirely stick. And number 1, the biggest white dress moment of the decade. Tori Evans at Taylor Swift's wedding. If you watched our video on that wedding, you already know the stakes here. July 3rd, 2026. Madison Square Garden, 1,000 guests, strict black tie, and secrecy so tight that phones were reportedly locked away at the door. Every detail of that night was protected like a state secret, and Tori Evans wasn't some distant acquaintance who slipped through the guest list. She danced on Taylor's Eras tour for over a year. She stood on that stage night after night. She is, by every account, part of Taylor's extended family. The day after the wedding, Tori posted a getting ready video. It's a lovely little clip. She rises up out of a fluffy hotel robe and into a strapless, light-colored satin gown with a matching scarf. But on camera, under that hotel lighting, the dress is white, strapless, floor length, sweetheart neckline. That is, piece by piece, the exact vocabulary of a modern wedding gown. The Swifties arrived within minutes, and they arrived in the tens of thousands. You wore white? She looks like the bride, out of all the colors. Did you have to pick that one? And then, bless him, her husband stepped in to defend her and made everything worse. He charged into the comments, insisting the dress was, in all capital letters, pink champagne color, and blamed the lighting for everything. The internet's reply was instant, and honestly, hard to argue with. If you have to explain that it's not white, the color is too close to the line. Now remember the flash photography trap from Beyoncé back at number 9. This is that exact same trap, snapping shut at the highest possible stakes. And of all the thousands of comments, the one that lingers is also the gentlest. Many women at that wedding were discussing it, considering you are close to Taylor, because that's the real regret in this story. Not the headlines, not the strangers arguing online. It's the proximity, the fact that this happened at the wedding of a friend. And to this day, Tori herself has never said a single word about it. So after 15 stories, here's what I think we've really learned. This was never truly about a color. It's about one quiet, unspoken promise that for a single day, one person gets to be the most photographed woman in the room, and everyone else agrees to step back. And the moment a guest breaks that promise, whether in bridal white, pink champagne, or a flowing Batman cape, millions of complete strangers will line up to defend a bride they have never once met. There's something almost touching about that, isn't there? Now it's your turn. Which of these 15 surprised you the most? The Batman suit, the desert showdown, or the dress at Taylor's wedding? And be honest with me, has anyone ever worn white to a wedding in your family? Because I have a feeling this audience has some stories of its own, and I would love to read every single one of them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, truly. And remember the golden rule, updated for the camera age. It's not what color the dress is, it's what color it photographs. And when in doubt, just don't.